your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, AFCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Tuesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing this morning?
I'm on your end of the stick.
What do you mean?
From Dawad.
What do you mean?
I'm getting called a crybaby. I'm getting called a sore loser. I'm getting called on the wrong end of an epic beatdown after our one-on-one challenge, and then how I tackled it yesterday.
It's all right.
I know how you feel now, Mark.
It's okay.
Usually you're the one on the end getting all the grief.
You just got to callous up, man. Callous up. That's all you got to do.
Can we put a bow on this? You beat me. You did beat me fair and square.
I have moved on.
Fair and square. I do not believe that any outside influence affected what you did.
No.
In 2020, you are 1-0 against me. Congratulations. There are no asterisks next to the W.
No.
I got my butt kicked.
All right.
I am 1-2.
Dude, we're going to do the hat thing. I like the hat idea.
Draw 4 lakes that neither of us have been to in 5 years that are within an hour of the OKC metro area.
Yeah.
Pick it the night before. No practice, nothing. Just show up and try to figure it out during the pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, rising, and dropping water with muddy and clear conditions, because based on what's going on outside, who the hell knows what the lakes look like this time of the year now. We haven't had anything stable.
It was a hammer yesterday in eastern Oklahoma. I mean, it was just an absolute downpour. Did you see the grapefruit-sized hail that dropped off, between here and Shawnee?
I saw some.
Oh, my gosh.
This spring has been like your mental stability in 2018.
What?
Just, you never know what you're going to get when you wake up.
Oh, that's pretty funny. All right, good show today. We're going to have Josh Bertrand on. And we haven't had him on the show for a while, have we?
No. One of the established pros having a good year before the hiatus from competition on the BPT, went 3 for 3 in checks, top 25 in the angler of the year standings, and now getting the podcast thing going. They're not a fledgling anymore. I think they've been doing it almost a year. Tim and him and 2 of his buddies out there in Arizona. So really good listen to it there. Known Josh since he came on the Elite Series, and one of the most humble, honest, well-liked, easygoing professionals out there. He's like the exact same. What you get in his interview today will be the exact same that he'll have in any conversation he ever has with me.
Yeah.
I've seen him get 5, seen him use. He's maybe used 3 or 4 cuss words in like the 10 years that I've known him. And that's when he gets really fired up.
Yeah. Well.
So he's got his hands full,
man.
too. Like his little girl had like a bowl full of rocks and dirt yesterday. And I was like talking to him, and she came up, and then she started crying. He's got his hands full. He's trying to do the professional fishing thing, the podcast. He's got 2 kids at home.
Yeah. Busy man. All right. What is today?
Today is Tuesday, May the 5th, 2020.
Okay. What is today? You're kidding me.
May 5th?
Okay. What is that?
I have no idea. What?
Dude.
Cinco de Mayo?
There you go. There you go. Now, what is your most memorable Cinco de Mayo?
Nothing. I'm always covering a tournament.
Now, wait a
fishing.
minute. No, I'm talking about go back to the college years.
I don't remember any of them. It was not a big holiday for me.
It was not a big deal for you?
Cinco de Mayo was not big, and neither was the, what's the Irish one?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, neither was St. Patrick's Day.
Dude, you never did O'Connell's in college? Green beer?
No. We would go the days after and get the green beer for $1 before the green beer taps ran dry. But no, St. Patty's Day is Cinco de Mayo, Earth Day.
None of that. Flag Day.
No, never. Never.
Nothing.
I only dressed up for Halloween. This is no joke. Like 3 years in college, 2 years in college. No, 3 years in college, and then 1 year after college.
Yeah.
That was the only time. Never dressed up as a kid for that, or no. Why?
All
What
right.
do
Well,
we got going for Cinco de Mayo?
No. They were talking about on Sports Talk this morning about their favorite Mexican food restaurant.
Oh, yeah, I got
dude,
one of those.
It has been, what? I haven't had Mexican food since my heart attack. And I miss Mexican
Well,
food.
how long ago was that?
It was in December. Yeah, 5 months. 5 months. And I miss me some Mexican food. What is your favorite
I'm
Mexican
trying to remember that. You didn't like fall down clutching your chest. You like woke up and were like, something's not right, and Carolyn took you in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Mexican food?
Yeah.
What was that noise?
I was just over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it turned down. We're good.
Electronic noises during shows that are unexpected never end.
No, it's all
never
good.
end well,
No.
Mark. I've
No.
learned that.
No. It's all good.
That
All
and
right.
on your graph. If your graph starts beeping, or if you hear any kind of doo-doo-doo or doo-doo-doo when you like motor graph computer, not good.
Yeah.
But we're good. So there's a place in Broken Arrow called Three Tequilas, and they have this. It's like a cheesy meat treat. It's got pork,
Jeez.
chicken, and beef, and
What
it
a-
comes in like a sizzling cast iron bowl.
Yeah.
And it's just melted cheese on it.
Yeah.
And their medium margaritas, I think, are 36 ounces, and their big ones are like 72.
For what? $5? $5
Like
margaritas?
$9 for the giant one, like $5 for the medium one.
Yeah.
They make it in like this giant vat in the back, and you can see them. They like come out. It looks like when they pour it, it looks like a portable gas can that they mix it up in.
Really?
And then they just like pour it into the glass with the salted rim. Yeah. So 3 tequilas there in Broken Arrow.
All right. So you're more about the tequila and not really about the...
I'm about the margarita, not the tequila.
Okay.
I can handle 1 margarita and I'm good.
That's it?
2 margaritas, questionable. 3 margaritas,
Yeah.
tequila is my nemesis there. I stay away from that. I do
When-
1 margarita and I'm good to go.
Dude, when I was at OU in college, it was a big day. It was a big party day for all the
So,
fraternities.
but you were in a frat house.
Yeah.
You have to celebrate everything. Did you have a date party for Cinco de Mayo?
No.
Where you partnered with a sorority?
Yeah, that's
and
what
then,
we do.
Yeah.
Everybody would team up with whatever sorority, and they would have a Cinco de Mayo party. But, it wasn't...
What did
it
that
was weird.
include?
Oh, trash can punch, but it wasn't punch. It was tequila and sour mix. Oh. Yeah, it was... Scary, scary time. So I am missing me.
Were you in
some
charge of
Mexican
that?
food.
Like you were in
One
charge
year,
of the...
1 year I was social director. 1 year.
What you were
Yeah.
social director
Yeah,
of
1
your
year.
fraternity.
1 year.
How?
My big claim to fame was I created a party called See You in St. Louis. Because what's in St. Louis? What's
The Arch,
Well, yeah.
the Cardinals, the Blues,
Keep going.
Spaghetti Factory,
Jeez.
the Mississippi River.
Budweiser, dude.
Oh, Budweiser.
Jeez,
Okay.
we don't care about any of that.
Well, I
other
just
stuff
named 9
when you're in
different-
college. No, it was See You in St. Louis, and it was a big St. Louis themed party. But I made arrangements. You can't do this anymore. I mean, you just can't. But I made arrangements with the local Budweiser distributor that instead of having a keg or 3 kegs or whatever, we just had the beer truck. We had the beer truck park outside. We had this breezeway that was kind of the drive-through right before the entrance. Now the beer truck just parked right there, the old Budweiser truck. And we had the tap directly out of the truck.
Now you
Can't
had
do that
So
anymore.
you had a budget and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You said, "Here's what we're doing."
Yeah.
That's like I thought your claim to fame was the.
Well, the back nine was the other thing.
Yeah, that's the one that
Yeah.
you still talk about it to
Yeah.
this day.
The back nine was epic. So I miss Mexican food. I really do.
Can
Too
you
much
eat
cheese, too
any variation of it?
Not really.
Heart healthy Mexican is not really.
No, I guess Chipotle would probably be the most healthy if I dove.
Burrito meat.
I don't know. So I'm
You
missing.
can do. You
missing
can't
me.
do chips and salsa because the salt.
Yeah. Very little salt. 2,000 grams of salt a day. seems like a lot, but it's really not.
Yeah, we're always covering a tournament on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was a place in Tulsa. I don't even know if it's there anymore. It's called Pancho's Mexican Buffet.
Have not heard of that one,
dude. It was an epic buffet. You know, the one thing about buffets, it doesn't matter Mexican, American, Italian. I don't understand why people pile up their stuff.
Yeah, I think it'll be
because you could go back. You could go back as many times as you want.
I feel like it'll be a while before we have to worry about the buffet lines.
Yeah, good point. They're in for drastic changes. All right, a couple other things. Were you watching Ozark on Netflix?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 seasons already.
Dude, I just watched the final episode.
That's funny. They talk about it.
Oh my gosh!
We have Bertrand on with Anglers Happy Hour, his podcast. They talk about Ozark all the time. Like, one of the guys is halfway through one of the seasons. The other guy's almost through, and I think Bertrand's watched it.
Were you not shocked by the final episode, the final scene?
You don't give it away.
I'm not
there are
giving
a bunch
it away.
Of people,
no,
but
I'm
yeah,
not.
It's.
Oh my gosh!
It's a very good season. Now we have to wait 2 more years, and then who knows when they film for it. But I basically watch it like 1 7-hour movie each season.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's not a series. Let's say this: it's not a series you want to like watch with the kids.
Yeah.
But it's very cool. A lot of kind of landmarks there in the Lake of the Ozarks area, Sunrise Beach, that type of area. But then we've talked about this, I think, on the show. The majority of that on the water, and there is a lot of water involved on that, was filmed on Lake Lanier in Georgia because of the tax laws in Missouri. They can do it more with Georgia. So you'll actually see some stuff you can recognize on Lanier sometimes, and then they'll pan around to the big shots of Lake of the Ozarks.
There's a lot of B-roll from the Ozarks region in that.
Yeah,
There is,
a
lot of B-roll.
Yeah, but a lot of times when they're on the boat and they're driving, you can tell there's sometimes clay banks that you can see in the background where you're like, ooh, I'd like to drag a jig off that for some spotted bass.
Yeah, they don't recognize that, the average fan. Anyway, but man, I sat there and I was just like, holy crap, what just happened? What just happened? Are you kidding me? That's the way you're going to end the season? And now how long do we have to wait? 2 years?
I would say about 2 years.
Man, that's unfortunate. What a great series. All right, and then a couple other things real quick. You know they're playing baseball now.
Where?
Korea. With no fans.
There you go.
They're actually wagering on Korean baseball.
So the books are open on Korean baseball.
Books are open on Korean baseball. And then just in case, I got a couple of emails. People were wondering about the bowling thing. I actually bowled for the first time in 2 months on
Center's
Thursday.
open.
Some aren't, but it was a disaster, dude. I bowled 3 games. Everything that I had worked on for 6 months, thrown out the window.
No, don't throw it out the window because it'll come back. It'll come back a lot quicker than it did before. It's like fishing. It'll take you a week or 2 to get back into that grind.
So bad.
Your speed, your learning curve will be reduced.
Oh, it was so bad.
Before we get to Bertrand, one more thing. Tomorrow is the last day. I went and filmed some stuff with Brad Hallman. Got the final prototype for the BFE in. I think people are tired of me mentioning this now, but I'm kind of proud of it. And so is Brad.
Cool
We've
deal.
worked the new baits in. It's chubbier, and it's awesome.
I haven't seen it. Do you have one?
I have one out in the car, yeah.
Maybe at the break, could you go get it?
Yeah, I'll go show it to you. I'll compare the two. It's definitely chubbier, but went and filmed some stuff. So tomorrow is the last day that you can submit. It's just bigbitebase.com/contest, or just click on the banner on basszone.com.
Yeah.
May 6th, Wednesday. Yeah, it's the last day tomorrow.
That's
so if you
tomorrow.
win 500 free baits in your color and the name, it will go into production, be one of the 10 colors that Big Bite produces, and you can have Mark Jeffries grill you on BTL. You will be on. The winner will be on. So
we'll get you on
who knows
BTL.
when? I mean, it's we're up over 1,000 submissions.
That's very cool.
So
very,
that's a lot,
cool.
a lot of names and colors to go through.
Yeah. A couple other things real quick. I do want to let everybody know. Next week, we are going to be letting everybody know about what we are going to do to give back to the fans, Matthew.
Okay.
All right. I did. It is done. We have everything in place. And I'm telling you folks right now, Strike King and Luz have really stepped up to the plate for this little contest that we're going to have, this virtual contest, and give back to the fans. So I will go into great detail next week on how this is going to work. And there are, let's just say, thousands of dollars of prizes that we're going to give away Matthew.
Very nice.
Back to the fans.
Very nice.
So we actually did a pilot on Sunday, and it worked extremely well. And I hope everybody is okay with this kind of creative thing that I came up with the help of Major League Fishing to give back to the fans. And I am just enormously excited about giving stuff back to the people that have really made this show and made BTL into the number one, the leader when it comes to podcasting and live shows from an independent standpoint on iTunes and every other platform. So it's our way to give back, and I'm very, very appreciative to Strike King, Luz, and Major League Fishing for getting this thing rolling, and we will go into details about it next week. All right, I think that's about it on my list, Matthew. Got anything else?
No.
All right.
I'm ready to get to Bertrand. Appreciate him getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Is he on Mountain
over there.
time
No, they're
or
on West Coast time.
Really?
Yeah, I think he might be going fishing after the show too. But
well, I don't know. You know, I did get an email from a couple people, and they said, "Why don't you have a contest where people go up against you, the fans? The fans actually step out and challenge you." It's like, I don't know. I'll talk to them about that. What do you think about that? A BTL fan going one-on-one against you.
There's a lot of people doing one-on-ones these days, Mark. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's a good point. You know, one final thing. You know what really, really irritates me?
You know what?
This is really, really starting to tick me off.
Grinds my gears?
It's just really starting to irritate me when people that I know do not respond to texts that I'm sending.
Have I not responded to
No,
text?
it's not you. Oh, it's not you at all. I just, I've probably sent, I don't know, 10, 15 texts to this one individual. No response.
Maybe he doesn't want to talk to you.
That's
she
okay.
doesn't want to talk to you.
You know what? Tell me.
Maybe they blocked you
Just
because
tell
you
me.
were too aggressive in the past and they're not even going through.
I've done nothing.
Does it say that it's delivered, or is it
says
dark
delivered.
blue, or is it light blue?
No, it says delivered. I just don't understand it. Hey, if you don't want to text me, if you don't want to talk to me, just tell me. I'll leave you alone.
Is someone you have a good relationship with,
I
or someone
thought I
who's
did.
like, dear God, not this guy again? I thought we'd move past that.
Oh, I thought I did that.
That guy,
but
here's the problem. When I think of people who might not respond to texts for you for potentially valid reasons, there's like 8 that come to mind, Mark.
Yeah, well, hey, just tell me. Hey, Jeffries, leave me alone. Okay, man, I'm good with that. Anyway, on a Tuesday, coming back with Josh Bertrand. Everybody stay tuned.
Search for the best combination of value and performance is over. It ends with Elite TI2. From high-res views of active imaging to mapping in real time with Genesis Live, the high-powered performance of Elite TI2 continues to dominate. And now, wirelessly share sonar waypoints and routes between TI2 displays. Get up to $200 cash back when you purchase a Lowrance Elite TI2 or Hook Reveal display. Visit Lowrance.com/offers for details.
Yeah, you care about gear ratios, inches per turn, and ball bearings, but most importantly, you want reliability and dependability in the equipment you use. Luz doesn't cut corners when it comes to the gear they build. The new Speed Spool LFS is the best $99 reel in the market. Go see for yourself.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
I want to share to you a new product we got coming out from Sunline. This is the FC leader size spools that we have now. We've gotten a lot of requests for this. A lot of you guys use fluorocarbon for leaders only, myself included. And one of the problems you have is when you have a 200-yard spool, that might last you 2, 3, 4 years. You might even lose it before you even get done with the spool. So we've gone to a little smaller spool. These are 50-yard spool sizes. You know, that way you're not holding your line on forever. You can keep your line fresh, use it when you can, stores real easily in the boat. We got all of our popular line sizes that you're used to with our Sniper from 5 to 14 pound. If you guys are looking for a line that you're only tying for a leader, go check out Sunline FC Leader 100% fluorocarbon and give it a try.
All right, we are back on a Tuesday, ready to go to our special guest out in Arizona. You like that jam? It's a little bit of a...
Who is this?
I don't know. It's just some random chilling music.
Hold
It's
on,
not Black Flag.
Let me see it.
Some
That's
lounge
bank,
music.
no, that's bank lobby music. It's not elevator music because it's got a little bit more beat, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's trustworthy. It's like, hey, invest in us. Invest with us.
And
We can
grab
get you
a
a
bag
low,
of popcorn on
low
the way out.
APR.
Yeah.
A happy vibe in here.
All right. Let me cue that down. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. All right. It is time to bring in our guest. Josh, you
Couldn't
there,
you
man?
hear it?
What?
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Could you hear the music?
Oh, yeah, I liked it. I was on hold, and it felt like I was on hold. For sure.
That's the best line.
It
was
was some
perfect.
some on hold music.
That's the. Your call is very important to us. However, we're experiencing high caller volume at this time. Please stay on the tune. In the meanwhile, check out our website where helpful online consultants can answer every question you have.
Oh, that is too funny, man. That is really, really good stuff. All right, Josh, man, welcome to the show. Wow, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Like you said, it's a little early in Arizona. When Matt had called me to test the audio, I had literally been awake for 1 minute. So I'm good to go now. I've been up for about an hour, and I'm fully awake.
Hey, you have kids, though, man. Don't they get up early?
They're actually good sleepers. I mean, they are psychotic during the day, all day long, but and they don't nap, but at night they sleep great. So, you know, they go to bed every night at about 8 o'clock, and they literally sleep until 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
12 hours.
Wow. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit to Josh, and then we'll take a break and come back, and we'll get to some of the questions on the instant feedback. Now, I did not realize this, but Matt informed me that you guys talk about the Netflix series Ozarks a lot on your podcast.
Ozark, no S. I don't think.
Ozark. I'm sorry, dude.
Well,
Forget it.
I mean, that's very important.
Okay, Ozark. Anyway.
I get, yeah.
Anyway.
And we love it, man. We've been
Isn't
watching it since the beginning. And are you new to it, Mark?
No, I'm done. I finished the last episode last night, and I was shocked. I don't want to give anything away, but, dude, that blew me away. I could not believe it ended that way.
Yeah, it was definitely, it gave the notion that they are probably going to have another season, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
Now, you fish Lanier, right?
Dude, I've never been there.
You've never
had a
been to
tournament
Lanier?
there. Nope.
Have you had a tournament on Lake the Ozarks?
Nope, neither one of them.
You've never been to Lake of the Ozarks or Lanier?
No.
Those are both like wheelhouse spots for you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm at the mercy of wherever they've had the tournaments. And, since I started, it's 7-8 years ago, and we've never had one there, man.
Oh, I
I'd
guess.
love
So
to
when
go.
the elites were there, you were with the BPT, and then the FLW Tour has been there.
Yep.
And when was the last time there was a major tour level event on Lake of the Ozarks? I mean, I know there's been Costas and some Opens and stuff, but I'm trying to think. The Elite Series has never been there.
No.
Has the FLW Tour ever been there?
It's been a while.
I think they've had some MLF stuff there, haven't they? Filmed cups or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard that, or
I don't
heard
know.
of that in the past before I started fishing them. Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a really good fishery right now.
Yeah, and in the fall, the wintertime, obviously one of the top.
And they
lakes
have
in
a
the
great
country.
they have a great new gambling boat there. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I heard you. I was listening live before you guys went on the break, talking about how the lakes don't look well. Like it could have been at a different lake.
Yeah.
Like you said, it looked like Lanier, not so much Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And I've had a show get ruined for me on like that too. There was this show I really like the cartel shows and cartel movies. I don't know about you guys. Well, I guess this one kind of is, right?
Yep.
Ozark. But there was one called Queen of the South. It was actually on like network TV, and it was great for like 4 seasons. And they on the 5th season they had some of the episodes where the setting was in Arizona, and it absolutely didn't like Arizona at all. It was Texas, and I hated the show from then on out.
That's to say, it's any TV show where there's someone that's riding a horse. My girlfriend hates it because it's like a parrot that they suck at horse riding. And like if they're supposed to be good horse riders, it ruins the show for her.
Really?
Yeah, you can't trust anything
Yeah.
from that point on.
Yeah.
You're like, it's all just
It's like fishing with the spinning rod or reel upside down.
Doing this?
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Speaking of fishing, how much fishing have you done during this break, Josh?
I've been lucky that a lot of our lakes in Arizona have stayed open. They've closed a few down, but I'd say 80 to 90% of our launch ramps are still open. So I've been going to once or twice a week just to go do video and just to keep my sanity. It's amazing how much you really just appreciate being out there now more than ever. Like you're just on the water running from spot to spot, and I'm actually like looking around and taking it all in, which is great. So I've been able to do a decent amount, and it's, Arizona's great because when we were kind of stuck at home, and which we still kind of are, but in March and April, we had great weather. So like we could just go chill in the backyard or spend all day on the lake, whereas it was still cold in a lot of the rest of the country. But now it's kind of going the other way. Today's supposed to be 107, and I'm supposed to. I told Matt I might fish today, but I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow so I can get there at first light and be done early.
Well, one question real quick. How long has the spawn been over?
What's crazy about Arizona is the spawn lasts as long or longer than any other state I've been to. Like it's still going on. And the reason is a lot of our lakes are steep lakes. They don't have like a ton of spawning habitat. So, and our lakes have big numbers of fish. So they literally just have to share the spawning coves and creeks and bays. So they just alternate, and it'll go into May, sometimes into mid to late May, and it starts in early March.
Are you guiding at all? I know a lot of these guys. I know some guys on the FLW and the BPT and even the Elite Series who have guide businesses have kind of used this off time to kind of kick that up and pick up a few clients. I know you're still part of that Arizona fishing guides business, and have you kind of been picking up any guide trips, or is that like a thing of the past now for you?
Oh, hey, I'd be happy to be doing it, and I've had quite a few messages of guys wanting to do trips, but to be honest, I've laid low. I've just fished by myself. I mean, just with everything going on, and my wife's taking everything pretty seriously. So I've just been like, well, I'll just pick these trips up later this summer if I can.
All right. I'm not sure how to pronounce these lakes correctly. I can't even say Ozark.
Oh, dude, I can't
correctly.
wait for this one. I can't wait for this.
What
because
is
I know
this?
what lake you're going to.
Sagaro?
Saguaro?
Saguaro.
Okay, is that open?
Like the cactus?
Yeah, it's a cactus. So it's that everyone struggles
That's
with
impressive.
It's a giant saguaro. That's what the owls make their nests in, the big giant saguaros.
So is that lake open?
It's closed, and that's the lake that I kind of grew up fishing, and it's the closest lake to my house. People got a little too crazy over spring break over there, and it was closed the weekend after. It was open, and they were planning on keeping it open, but the lake's got some beaches on it, and those beaches went off on spring break, and they just gated the entrance up after that.
What about, let's see here, Tonto?
So yeah, probably Roosevelt, right?
It just says Tonto.
I'm gonna assume that they're probably talking about Roosevelt Lake, and that one's open. That's the lake I've been going to quite a bit. The whole Colorado River is open, so that's nice. You know, the Havasu, Mojave, the river itself is open, so a lot of people have been going there, and I actually went there last week.
Huh. I bet things are kind of crazy at Havasu.
Nuts. Yeah, you've got people coming from California and even Nevada. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff's closed in California and Nevada. So Havasu is just a small town, and it's normally already busy this time of year with spring break and everything.
Yeah.
But apparently Alamo's open, and Brett Height called me the other day saying he just absolutely blasted him over there. He's trying to get me to go. It's 4 hours from my house, though, so it's a pretty long drive. He lives about 2 hours closer.
How far is Havasu?
Havasu is about 4 hours too, and I'll do the day trip just because it's worth it. And it's an awesome fishery. When I went to the Colorado River, I went just below the dam at Havasu, so it's just actual river fishing. But and that's a good 3 hours 45 minutes, but worth it.
Okay, what are those called, Matt? Red ears? Is that right? We saw a picture of a 4-pound red ear. What's the biggest one that you've caught?
I've never lucked into a giant one like that. Maybe like 2 pounds, but those things are crazy, man. Like you'll see them, and like, you know, when you're around the spawn this time of year on Havasu, you're obviously looking down in the water looking for fish and stuff. And there have been multiple occasions where I look down in the water, and I'm like, "Oh, dude!" I'll tell my buddy I'm fishing with, "Dude, look at the size of that smallmouth." And then you get close to it, and it's a red ear. Like,
is that just Havasu, or is that in all the surrounding lakes too? Is that just a unique deal?
I saw a bunch of them when I was on the river itself below Havasu last week, so I would assume it's in all of them. I don't think that I know they don't get that big in like Meade, but I would bet Mojave has them like that. But yeah, it's a weird deal. They're unbelievable. They're huge.
I'm pretty sure Rojas is the little machine, Austin.
Yeah,
just caught a 310.
That's insane. That is crazy. That is.
They just don't look right. They're crazy.
No, not at all. All right, fishing wise. You know, there's still some things up in the air. You're not really sure what your schedule is going to be. But we do know, based upon the interview that we did with Boyd Duckett, some of the other people that we have spoken with, you guys are probably going to be done in the month of August. That leaves an opportunity to potentially fish other stuff. Are you considering that, Josh? Is that in the plans? Or when the season's over, and boom, you're trying to work toward 2021?
It'll probably be a combo of both. I've always been like a guy that just wants to fish as much as I can, and so I'll probably fish as much as I can. You know, hopefully I'll have a couple cup tournaments to fish through MLF, and then like to fish the U.S. Open as always. And man, I mean, I'll jump into anything. I'll jump into a Toyota tournament. It just depends on how the schedule looks. But yeah, man, I fish all fall. I don't get rid of my boat until January, and I don't hunt, so I just pretty much fish and hang out with the family.
You're in a unique situation because you have some of the biggest endemic sponsors and some big non-endemic sponsors in the industry. How has your relationship with your sponsors been for those that are in the industry, the Pure Fishings, the Bass Pro Shops, and then the ones that are outside the industry with, you know, Smoky Mountain and some of the maple syrup, some of the things like that? And has it been interesting working? Has there been a different vibe between the guys that are out of the industry and the companies that are in the industry as far as how this is all gone and moving forward?
And you're speaking just basically from the last couple months?
Correct.
Yeah. it's every company's different, and it's really interesting to hear like how different companies in completely different industries are either doing really really well, or obviously some things aren't going as well as they normally do just because of closures and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's and the thing is, like, you talk to your sponsors and you talk to these companies, and they're doing everything they can, and they're gonna be all right in the long run, but sometimes they don't even know how they're doing and what the future holds, because things are so crazy right now. So like I really haven't heard any definitive like things are great or things are terrible. It's just like we're just doing everything we can to get through it. And it's like you take the syrup sponsor, for instance, and dude, they can't keep that stuff on the shelves. You know what I mean? Because people they're at home and they're cooking and you know what I mean? You see what the grocery stores look like, but weird problems arise. Like they've had a lot more trouble getting bottles because a lot of that stuff would like come from China. You know what I mean? So like just weird things, like they're selling a ton of it, but they're struggling to get bottles to put the syrup in.
Weird. So, obviously, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was everyone tries to do different things to stay relevant, to stay in kind of the spotlight, show their value to their sponsors. One of the things you started, what was it, about a year ago now?
So about 5 months ago, I think.
Oh, it's
6
only
months ago. This
6
summer.
months ago. This summer was you started a podcast with a couple of your buddies out in Arizona called Anglers Happy Hour. And I listened to a couple episodes and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool stuff. And it was, talks about fishing mainly. They talk about hunting on there and stuff, but they tell a lot of awesome guide stories. Like good stuff, bad stuff, like the dumbest stuff that they've ever done on a guide. Like just the stuff that you want to hear.
There's a lot. We've got a lot of those.
So
man.
Just kind of talk about how that whole thing came about, kind of starting a podcast, and then heck, you've lasted a lot longer than the average podcast does. I don't know if you've ever researched the numbers, how many episodes an average podcast lasts, but there's a lot of 5 and 6 episode shows that then go away forever. But it kind of seems like you guys have found your stride over there.
Well, yeah, thanks. And honestly, we started just because we love podcasts. Like you guys were one of the inspirations for us for sure, because you guys have been doing it so long and it's fun to listen to. And it just, you listen to your podcast and you can tell you guys are having fun. And we just being podcast guys and fishermen, and the two guys I do it with, Rob Vanderkoy and Nick McMurray, they're two of my best friends. We've been friends for 10 plus years. And we just wanted an excuse to get together and kind of shoot the breeze and crack jokes at each other and tell stories once a week. It's you go fishing with those guys and that's what it's like. And you're not able to go fishing every week. So it was a good opportunity just to get together and talk fishing and have fun. And I don't know, that's kind of just where it started, man. We listened to some other outdoor and fishing podcasts and
like Meat Eater, things like that.
Meat Eater's great.
Yeah.
And then some other like sports podcasts that aren't even fishing related. And we got a lot of inspiration from all of them. So, I mean, we had no idea what we were doing and still have no idea what we're doing when it comes to the technology side. Like I see everything that Mark has set up, and I just listen to like how professional it is with the music and the breaks and stuff. He's going to laugh, but ours is much more raw. We basically, it's much more raw. And you can tell when you listen to the episode, some of them, the audio sounds good, and then some of them not so good. And we're working on it. I feel like it's at a point where it's listenable and it's probably not going to turn someone off most of the time, but it's been a learning process. I told Matt the other day, we probably recorded, I think, 6 episodes before one was even worthy of like putting out. It was
really?
So frustrating, dude. It was and it was all audio issues. Like we'd get done with the episode and be like, that was great. Yes. All right. We got one. And then we listened to it and, Nick sounded electronic, or there was an echo, or, it just, whatever it was, there was a fan going in the background that we didn't hear until we played it back, and all you hear is fan, so we had some frustrations, but we're to the point now where we know if we do something different with our setup, we test it first, and it's getting better.
So do you have a producer. I mean, this is all you. Like you buy everything, set everything up, do all the troubleshoot. I mean, you just not like you have someone that's like doing this for you.
Yeah, and Nick had edited a few videos just for fun back in the day when he was fishing, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I've never edited anything. Rob's listening, and I'm going to give him a hard time here. I had to tell him how to cut and paste something the other day, a link. So Rob's not doing any editing. I mean, we're all just none of us know any of that stuff. So just spent a lot of time on YouTube and asked you some questions, Matt, and just did a lot of reading. And again, we just barely know enough to record an episode and put it out to iTunes.
How long did it take you, Mark, before you felt comfortable to where you just went in, you did your thing, you didn't think about anything that was going on? Because
probably there were phases because the technology changes over periods of time. Like when we first started out and we were at the other studio down in Noble.
Yeah, that dialed.
It was pretty dialed in.
But then you had a producer coming in and you had to do specific segments for XM.
Yeah, the guy's name was Mike Holt. And that was the guy that I really learned from an audio perspective how to hook stuff up.
I liked him. He always wore a leather bomber.
Yeah, he did. He was cool. He's actually living in the Bahamas now or something.
Yeah, I liked him. He would come in. He kind of had a little bit of a mullet with the leather bomber.
Yeah. He loved Neil Young. Yeah. He was a huge Neil Young fan. Anyway, he kind of taught me from an audio perspective how to get stuff dialed in because he had done it for so long. He had owned one of the radio stations here locally, and he kind of showed me the ropes. Then when the video aspect came in, this was before streaming even existed. I mean, there was a very, very small market for companies out there.
Oh, was this the British guys?
No, it was
before the British guys.
Before the British guys.
Wow.
So there was a lot of frustration and a lot of trials and tribulations to get this thing dialed in, but it came in phases.
Yeah. Have you had one of those nights yet? And I haven't because I don't know the stuff that Mark knows. But I've witnessed Mark's multiple times, like 3, 4 in the morning, just like yelling at the computer screen, ripping everything. Have you had any of those where you're just like out looking at the stuff, just going, "Why won't you work?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first time we got the stuff and we didn't know how to plug in our audio interface into the laptop. Rob and I walked into Best Buy and we're like, "Hey, what do we need to plug this into this?" And they're like, "We can't help you guys." Yeah. We ended up going to Guitar Center to get hooked up, and they were a little more friendly actually, and helped get us set up.
All right, I'm going to tell you right now, dude. The mic shield. All right, that's a good look, but I'm telling you, people can't see your face. Man.
I can see his face. I think it looks good.
It's like guarded in there. You can get a little.
No, I think it looks professional.
Suppressor.
I like it.
I didn't say it didn't. I'm just saying that the look.
Oh, you want the fuzzy over the mic instead of the tennis racket in front of the mic.
Yeah, that way people can
but
see your mug.
They don't do video. They do audio.
I thought you were doing video.
No, videos.
Which we probably should, but I don't even know if this mic shield is doing anything for us.
It sounds marvelous though. It is
really
the most crystal clear Skype call and connection we've had in some time. So you got that dialed.
Absolutely. So just throwing that out there.
So what's the game plan here? I mean, you're doing the shows. You're putting them out once a week. You've done a few more. It always comes out on a Monday, and I usually listen to it on the way home from BTL because I have a 2-hour drive. And it actually, listening to your show, and I told this to Mark, and I'm not BSing here because if your show sucked, I wouldn't have had you on.
Yeah.
And I told you that too yesterday.
Yeah, I believe it.
I said I'm a fan of it because I said, "Oh, you did that deal where you're making fun of each other's pictures, and then you had to go to your Instagram, the Anglers Happy Hour Instagram, and then follow along with the pictures." I said, "So what's the long-term process here? Do you have a game plan? Like, what's the end goal?"
It would have been smart to write out like a business plan when we did this, like just like when you start anything, actually lay out some goals and our goal is to have fun with it, really. And we've kept it really low key. We want to stay consistent with it and we want to keep doing it, but hopefully at some point it continues to grow. Like it's been growing pretty good. And things like this, whether you're starting a YouTube channel or a podcast or anything, they're just hard to grow. I mean, they're really hard to grow. And I feel like even though it's not anywhere close to what you guys have. I mean, you guys have been doing it for so long, and we're microscopic compared to your show, but it is growing, and we're having fun with it. And I mean, after half the episodes, like, I had to go listen back. We had Cody Meyer on last week. And I'm sure you guys have had him on. He loves to tell stories. He's just a fun guy to talk to, and he told 3 or 4 stories that were so good, I literally went back and listened to them a couple times and laughed out loud. And as long as we're having fun like that, and we're doing that, it doesn't matter if we're not making $1 on it, man. It's worth doing. It's worth spending an hour a week on, for sure.
What is the plan when you go back out on the road?
Well, now that we've had to figure out how to do this remotely because of this COVID stuff, we can do it remotely. It's not ideal. Like, we much rather get it in the same room together, just like what you guys have, and do it together, because it seems to go a little bit smoother and it's a little bit easier. But we'll just keep doing it. I mean, I've been really thankful we haven't missed a week yet. We've done one every week for. Well, we get 28 episodes or something like that, and hopefully we can continue that. I mean, if we ever miss one because I've got back-to-back tournaments or whatever, that it is what it is. But we don't have any episodes backlogged, and we kind of, I guess we could, because we don't really drop breaking news or anything like that. We're not talking a ton of current events, so we could always, if I've got a long trip coming up, we could do a couple episodes, but. We're going to try to just do one every week. We'll see.
You got time to answer some fishing questions?
Wait, hang on. I have one more.
You still have one more tech.
One more podcast. Okay. Are you going to take the equipment with you when you're on the road?
I think I'm going to leave the equipment with the guys. Just take the laptop and a mic and some headphones, and just do that. But hey, I mean, if you guys have some tips, I'm wide open for that, man. I want your intel and knowledge, Mark.
Okay, I was just curious.
You ever see me when he Skypes into the show? I've usually got a shoddy background, low lighting.
Rod in your hand.
Yeah.
No.
So do we need to? Let's take a break.
That's
and then
what
we'll
I was
come
going to say.
back
You're
with-
good.
yeah.
You're good time wise to answer some fishing questions, right?
Tons, yep.
All right,
absolutely.
we'll take a break and then come back and then talk fishing.
Yeah.
With
All right,
Josh Bertrand.
Everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done. While I travel the country on the Bassmaster Elite Series, I simply can't let the weather be the reason I don't win $100,000. That's why I use AFCO clothing to keep me warm, dry, and protected from whatever Mother Nature wants to throw at me. My season depends on it. My career depends on it. AFCO, any fish, any water.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks. Why? Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
The Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim On is a very unique bait, and it's got a full body but with ribs to give it a bigger profile but not more plastic. It's got a jointed tail that gives it a lot of action, as well as this up and down crawl type trail with holes and ribs in it, so it creates a bubble trail almost. This bait is supposed to be fished upside down or vertical like this on a great for a chatterbait. I prefer it on a swim jig as well, but you can also cut it down and put it on the back of a finesse jig. You know, flip it around for some spotted bass or flipping docks. Anytime you want a small, compact, you know, little trailer for it, this is great for it. So check out the full lineup of swim-ons at bigbitebaits.com.
All right, we are back on a Tuesday with our special guest, Mr. Josh Bertrand. And did you get him, Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah, people were asking.
I'll show him at the end of the show.
All right, when we wrap stuff up there.
Look at, you know what the other one looked like. Look at, they're chubbier. See?
Oh, yeah.
A lot chubbier.
That's sweet. We'll cue up that camera and show everybody on
Go
that.
back to the questions now with Mr.
Yeah.
Bertrand. Have you ever designed a bait, Josh? Like, I mean, from the start to the finish? He's got no volume, Mark.
Whoa. Wait, hang on. All right,
Rookie audio guy over here
that's
didn't
me.
have you turned up. Come on, Mark.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right on. I can tell Matt's excited about it because he goes, I'll show you at the end of the show. And then as he's saying that, he pulls it out and says, look at how fat it is.
Chubby. The word is chubby. We got the bait. Hallman and I were like, this is good, but it'd be better if it was bigger, it had more diameter. And Hallman goes, it'd be better if it was chubbier.
Chubby.
I said, that's the word right there.
It's a good word, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so what's your history in bait design, I guess?
I had helped Berkeley with a spy bait last year,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty fun, man. They've got a lot of technology up there where you can show up and make little adjustments to a bait and see it in the water like right away, real time, and it was a fun experience. That was kind of the first bait that I've helped with a bunch, and it's catching a bunch of fish, man. I got it tied on the deck right now.
So do they come to you and say, hey, we have a spy bait, we want you to help? Did you come to them and say, hey, I think you want to add a spy bait to the lineup? Like, how does that deal work? And then how much creative control do you have over the process, or does that just kind of depend?
It probably varies. In that situation, I bugged them for a good 2-3 years just to get one. Once I started fishing a spy bait and catching fish on it, I was like, man, we need one of these. We need one of these. And a lot of the other pro staff said the same thing. So, at that point, I think I had bugged them the most. So they're like, fine, we'll let Bertrand help us with it. And they were cool about it. I mean, they let me do kind of, I had final say on everything. And I can't take that much credit because the actual bait designers over there are the guys that know how to make things work. You know, you tell them what you want for action and profile, and they actually know how to do it. So, I helped, but the bait designers did much more.
Speaking of, I mean, it's a chubbier spy bait than the average spy bait, is it not?
It is.
Has a little bit more girth to it than the average spy bait.
Fish like those little chubby baits, man, especially smallmouth.
Chubby. All right, let's go to the instant feedback. Dave wants to know, is there anybody currently in Arizona that could compete out on tour that nobody knows about?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. You know, there's a handful of guys. I've got a couple buddies that I've known for a long time. One of them, Matt has actually fished with, Matt Shura. I think Matt's a fantastic fisherman. He's been on the podcast before. There's a guy named Ty Au who's been absolutely killing it in the Southwestern tournaments. He's right. I don't want to start naming all these names because I'm going to
leave someone out.
Yep, for sure. But there are some great fishermen. My buddy Scooter's been on the podcast. He's a great fisherman. But yeah, there's a bunch of good fishermen in Arizona.
Doesn't Shura live in like a wrapped van?
Pretty much. Yep. He literally does.
Wow.
He retired from the fire department, and he pretty much just travels around from tournament to tournament, even if it's a local tournament, and he'll post up and pre-fish for the week and fish the tournament on the weekend. It's a lifestyle he chose for himself.
Fish day 2 of the 2018 U.S. Open with Matt Shura.
Did he have the van? Did you back the van down?
Yeah.
No, I did not. I did not. I don't even remember. I don't think he had the big van then.
Huh.
He had something else. He might have had a truck then, I think.
Gotcha.
He caught a fish off of a rock on a drop shot in 36 foot of water, and you could look down and see the rock.
Did you see the fish?
No, you couldn't see the fish. He just said, hey, because we got a limit really early. And he's like, let's go head hunt now. And he's like, there's some big boulders along this bank in like 40 foot of water. And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, there it is. And I'm looking at the graph, and he's like, no, there it is.
Wow.
And you could look down and see the top of the rock, and then he drifted past it, and he caught like a 2-pounder off the side of the boulder. Couldn't see the fish down there, but when you're sight fishing, drop shotting in 30 foot of water.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anyway.
All right, Russ
That's
wants
real
to know, what were your thoughts going into the St. Lawrence Elite event, and did you think going into there that you'd almost crack over 100 pounds?
I was excited for the tournament just because it was already like my favorite place to fish. And I remember like that first day of practice, the fishing was so good. I remember just thinking, like, how is it going to be possible for anyone to not catch 20 pounds? Like, it was that good. I was like, this is going to be I was nervous because I'm like, man, I could catch them really good, but everyone's going to catch 20 plus pounds. So I don't know how you're going to separate yourself. And, that first, I'm trying to remember exactly how many waypoints I had. I was dropping like a yellow waypoint on any place where I caught or knew I could catch a 4+ pounder. And and I was shaking a lot of fish off too. After 2.5 days of practice, I had like 100 waypoints. I'm like, well, I had 104 pound bites. So in 2.5 days, I was sure everyone was going to absolutely whack them. Not just me, but everyone.
All right. Dave wants to know, what's your handicap in golf? Are you a good golfer?
I'm not. I played a lot. I actually played in high school, but I've completely lost my game. My short game is a joke. I've got the yips when I putt, and I can't chip. Long game is okay. I enjoy I'll go to the driving range and just hit the driver the entire time because everything else is just terrible. But I like to play, but I don't even have a handicap. I mean, I was at my very best. I was shooting close to 80 every time, but I'm not even close to that. I'd be well into the 90s now.
You would think a guy, he's known as a finesse angler primarily. His short game would be a strong suit.
And he wouldn't have the yips. And he wouldn't have the yips.
I played mini golf against you guys last year, and you guys took my money.
That's right. Yeah, that was there. Do you think you're an underrated power fisherman? I mean, I've been able to watch you a lot on the BBT, watch you fish. I mean, you do a lot with the spinnerbait, but I mean, you look at kind of what you've been doing out there in the Arizona lakes with as high as Roosevelt is and muddy as it is now. I mean, do you think you're an underrated power fisherman?
If I've got any rating at all, I'm overrated, dude. But I love to flip. It's like one of my favorite techniques. And so far, like through this season, our first 3 tournaments, they've been on Eufaula in muddy water, Okeechobee, and then Fork. And I haven't caught a bass on a spinning rod yet this year. I love to fish that way. And flipping is, I do have a lot of confidence flipping. Like when it comes to fishing docks and stuff, I'm probably the worst guy on tour. I just hate fishing docks. But I absolutely love flipping. And if I'm in a creek or pocket flipping, I feel confident that I can catch fish that the other guys can catch for sure.
Outside of that marina in Havasu next to not the Golden Gate Bridge. What is it?
The London Bridge.
The London Bridge. Outside of like that marina and stuff, like, are there like docks in Arizona on the lakes?
Not many, dude. And well, they have them, and they're absolute magnets to fish. But the majority of them, you'll get kicked out instantly if you try to fish them. Like the marinas, they don't allow it. And what blows my mind is Cliff Perch, man. I don't know how he's such a good dock fisherman. Like, he loves fishing docks, and we didn't grow up fishing docks at all out here. There's no docks.
Well,
it's all. Go ahead.
This is blowing my mind.
Huh.
Brett Hite, I don't think I've ever seen him fish a dock. Have you?
No. When he won on Seminole, I think he was winding his chatterbait around some docks. But dude, we just don't have them, and the reason is our lakes out here are all public land, so no one can build a house with a dock on the lake. It's
Rojas? I can't remember any time Rojas has been on a strong dock pattern.
No.
You? Perch is like the only one. Bridges and docks. Perch loves those things.
Yep.
Who else from Arizona am I missing?
Well, he moved. He used to be in Arizona. Murray.
Yeah. Is he a dock guy?
He'll fish some docks.
Not like
Roy Hawk.
noted. Roy Hawk was catching him around docks at Grand in the Elite Series, but he was catching him way out in front of docks on that first drop on a big spinnerbait, so that's a difference. I think the docks were just an aid to that pattern.
Hey, did you talk to Roy Hawk about the 16-pounder at Fork?
Yeah, I had no idea it had happened. Apparently, there was rumors just flying around during practice in the tournament. But to show how honest our house and all the anglers are about the no info, dude, I had no clue about anything until after the tournament.
What are we talking about?
And
Roy Hawk caught a 16-pounder at Fork in practice.
I think I'd rather let Roy tell the story because I don't know all the details, man. And
did you talk to him about it, though? Is all I was really asking.
Oh yeah, my mind was completely blown when I had heard of what might have transpired, man. Afterwards, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So he landed it.
Yeah. And
then he was rooming with you, and you never even there wasn't ever any Roy, you're awful smiley. Or anything. He just buried a 16-pounder for 5 days.
He's the same way, no matter, dude. He could win the tournament or be last, and he's the same Roy, and you guys know that. So, no, dude, he's equally as happy all the time.
What do you guys talk about? We've had guys. Watson came on, and he's like, I don't know what the hell to talk about with these guys. We can't talk about fit. I mean, you guys are all super. I mean, not that everyone isn't, but there's some guys who are a little grayer about it. From what I know about the Arizona household and the you guys room with, I mean, it's if you start to say anything, whoa, earplugs in, other room, I mean, you're by the book rule stickler all the way through. So what do you guys talk about? Grilling?
Yeah, usually. I mean, grilling or we don't hunt either, dude. So we don't have that in common. So we don't get to talk about hunting. We'll just, I don't know, dude. I don't know how we get by. It sucks, man, because you can't tell your stories, right? Like we're talking about the fun fishing stories that are fun to tell. You get out on the water, something crazy happened, and you want to come in and tell your buddies, and you can't be you can't start out by yeah, I was going down the bank flipping, and I went to flip, and then you catch yourself crap. I can't tell them I was flipping. I can't tell them this story,
Yeah. I mean, if you can share, Elite Series still shares information. I think FLW Tour with the guys, Pro Circuit, you can share information with people still in the tournament. So if you're in practice and you catch a 16-pounder, are you not calling all of your buddies who you think are within a 10-mile range going, come over here, look at this thing?
Dude, you can't.
I know. You just have to celebrate in silence.
Is there a picture? Did he take a picture?
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
Right, we got
to call Roy. I'd never heard of that. This is the first time I've heard of it.
Really?
What's the craziest thing that's happened to you in practice?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. You've
never had something where you're like, I can't believe this happened in practice?
Yeah, I caught a sturgeon last year, dude. I caught a sturgeon at Winnebago. And here's how, if you want your, I posted the video, so they at least got to see the video of it, but I don't know. I wasn't even sure. It's not a bass, but I'm I don't know if I'm allowed to tell these guys about this sturgeon catch that I caught a 5-foot sturgeon.
How did that feel? Did you think you had a bass or a muskie or what the heck?
I thought it was a musk. Well, no, actually, I thought it was a sturgeon because I had heard that in the wintertime, the locals will drill holes in the ice and wait for a sturgeon to swim under and spear it. That's like a thing up there. It really happens, and there are that many sturgeon in there. So as soon as I hooked that thing, I'm like, yes, I got a sturgeon. This is going to be cool. I was having a slow day anyways, and I never caught one. I'm like, sweet. So I had it on a little like a little jig head worm, and on a spinning rod, 8-pound test. And as soon as I hooked it, it came up out of the water and jumped like a tarpon. It was awesome. But I didn't get that on video. I was like, crap, I got to get it to jump one more time. And I spent like 20 minutes trying to get it to jump. And then it finally just literally got right under the boat in like 5 feet of water and just sat there. And I couldn't pull it up because my light line, it was just too heavy. It was just literally sitting there like dead weight. But I was trying to agitate it. Like I was trying to shake my rod tip and agitate it to make it come up and jump. And finally it came up and did like a halfway jump on the side of the boat. And you could tell it was a huge fish, but it didn't do it justice. And I said, hey, look at this 5-foot sturgeon. And I had a couple comments that were like, that ain't no 5-foot sturgeon. I'm like, it was a 5-footer. It was huge.
Wow. Are you a Pats fan? Patriots fan?
Yeah, I actually am, man. I'm from New Hampshire originally. So it's been a very difficult couple months as a Patriots fan.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That he was from New Hampshire?
No, I didn't know
that.
Know that.
How did you know I was a Patriots fan, Mark?
I got word from a couple people, and then somebody said something on the instant feedback too.
Okay, right.
They wanted to know your thoughts on Brady ended up with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, it's I'll still root for I'm going to root for the Bucs because I love Brady and love Gronkowski, but it's a bummer to not see him with the Patriots. I mean, it's real. I wonder how things are in New England. Like, I wonder what the thoughts and feelings are in New England. You can't hate the guy. You can't. I mean, for everything he did for that franchise, you just owe the guy forever. Really.
Yeah.
He could go to with their biggest rival, and you'd still have to cheer for him.
Yeah, it's kind of like, can you imagine seeing Skeet Reese in red instead of yellow?
Yeah, no kidding.
It's just it would be really weird, very, very strange.
That's
here's an interesting question from the instant feedback. When's the last time you caught a fish using a bobber?
Good question. I tried to use a float and fly a couple years ago in Tennessee and struggled at it. Just had no confidence with it. It's been a while. Probably a bluegill fishing guide trip, with some kids, 6-8 years ago. It's a good question. I want to learn how to float
on
and fly.
Cherokee. Did you try it on Cherokee?
That's where I tried it. Yep. And it was too good doing other things, and I didn't have any confidence in it. But I'd like to. I know it's big for spotted bass, and I'd like to learn how to do it. I've got a 10-foot rod to do it. Abu made some super. Remember when they had lifted that rule for 8-foot rod?
Everyone thought it would be the game changer of all game changers, and no one's used a freaking 9 or 10-foot rod since then.
So I've got a couple 10-foot cranking rods and a 10-foot float and fly rod, so I'm ready to do it, but just haven't.
Floating. Okay, this brings me to a question. Float and fly, then. Technique, viable technique. Guys who have confidence in it, love it, catch fish all winter on it. Maybe haven't seen it in a tournament setting because there's just not that absolute cold water application in that part of the country a lot of the time. But outside of a float and fly, what are some other techniques that are out there on tour that are just kind of bizarre and hard to master like that? Because I know you've had to learn a lot, and I've, like I said, listening to your podcast, you talk about how your learning curve from Arizona to going out east was like, okay, well, I guess I better learn how to do this because everybody does it. But I mean, outside of the float and fly, does that kind of go along the lines of like a vertical jigging spoon or that Demiki rig or any? What are some other of those kind of weird techniques that you've kind of dabbled in?
That Demiki rig was very interesting, man. It's interesting how situational that thing is. And I think the reason you don't hear about those things that often is they just don't work everywhere. And it's a super narrow time of year to do it. And just like you said, if the tournaments start in February, but they start down south, you miss that November through January window to use those techniques on those lakes where they would actually be viable. So, yeah, that's probably one of them, man. I mean,
hair jig.
Yeah, the hair jig's up there for sure. Again, and it's one that's just it's kind of narrow on when you can use it and when it's really good. But gosh, if it lines up, it's magical. I took that Demiki rig to a lot of different lakes thinking I was going to whack them. And the only other lake that I did really well on it was Table Rock.
Mm-hmm. Spy bait's kind of like that. I'm still trying to figure out exactly when and where that thing works. Because, I mean, I remember when it first came out and I saw it and I got some, I was like, I'm going to catch them everywhere on this thing. And then it's situational.
Yeah.
It is. It'll catch them in more situations than I think some people know. Like it's a good shallow water post-spawn largemouth technique, believe it or not, if you got clear water. But the whole thing with that is you need clear water. If you don't have at least like 3 feet of visibility, it's almost worthless.
Yeah.
But it can catch fish that other baits won't catch if you use it at the right time.
You follow Ike on social media. Like about every other day, he'll post a rig where you're like, "What the hell is that?"
He got crazy names for him too,
that sucker will put a hook and a rig and a weight in any possible configuration, and then name it after a farm animal.
Yeah.
A chicken rig, a donkey rig, a pig rig, a mule rig. I mean, he's got them all. And every other day, you're like, is he just sitting there like saying, "I wonder if I put the weight above the hook and then use this wad."
Yeah. Hey, back to the bobber. A longtime viewer, listener, Andy in Indiana, says that his son has been tearing them up. Instead of using a earthworm, he's using a Berkeley Max scent worm.
For bluegill?
I don't know. He didn't say. He just said he's tearing them up.
This may be a gentleman I spoke to at the Classic Expo
it is.
earlier this year. Yep.
Same guy.
They told me the same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually had, what they told me was they'll take, I'm just going to divulge their secret since they're writing it on there anyways, but they'll take a Max scent worm and they'll cut it up in pieces. And it's way easier than having to keep live bait alive and stuff. And they said it's dynamite on bluegill. I took my daughter fishing the other day and I was ready to do that. We just didn't see any bluegill.
Huh.
How long did that trip last?
Okay, it was 100 degrees by the end of the day, and she lasted 4 hours, man. It was
that's
unbelievable.
impressive.
Yeah, I mean, we got there early at like 7 where it was cool, and she wanted to stay out, but I was like, it's 100. Like, I can't keep a 3-year-old out here any longer, you know? So I got her off just for the heat, but she was great, man. I couldn't believe it.
Because they always talk about ways to keep small children entertained on boats because they're all guides and they're all kids and stuff. So there's some great ones.
Yeah.
The best trick is put a fish in the live well. It's what I've learned from Anglers Happy Hour. Yeah. Once there's a fish in the live well, kids will play with it for hours.
You're right. She checked on it 50 times. And so I caught a largemouth and put it in the live well, and then caught a smallmouth later, and she didn't want to put it in the live well with the largemouth. She didn't think they'd get along.
Huh. Hey, what's fall fishing like in Arizona?
It's good. It's super hit or miss. So the fish school up big time. There's always like a super shallow topwater bite, and you can do that all day long and catch them throughout the day. The fish are up there eating shad and eating dragonflies, actually. That's a really big deal. But they also start to group up out deep, and I'll spend all day looking for that deep school, and I'm talking like 40 feet or 50 feet, because when you can find them, sometimes you can catch 20 to 50 fish in an hour. You know, they're just stacked up, and it's every drop, and that's a jigging spoon or something like that. It's pretty fun.
Do they have a lot of team tournaments in Arizona?
Yeah, they do. The team tournament scene's pretty good. It's not like Tulsa area, you know, where you guys are at, or Oklahoma City, where you just have tons and tons of 100-boat tournaments, but it's good. There's 4, 5, 6 really good circuits that draw between 50 and 100 boats, and a lot of good local fishermen, man. I mean, a lot. And what's cool about this area is the guys still fish them. Like, I've been basically quarantined through this last couple months, but I know Brett has been at like every local tournament, and Cliff goes to every tournament. I normally do. Roy does. The competition is pretty good.
All right. I want to know this because I can't remember. Are you one of those guys when a tournament's taking place that when you come in or you finish your event, do you have your rods tucked away, or do you have rods still out on the deck of the boat?
I just leave them on the deck, just because I know I'm going to have to rig them up later, right? So I hate to just add a step to the whole process and put them away and then pull them back out.
So you don't care if people see what you were using, or do you strategically place something else on the deck of your boat?
Dude, I don't think anyone's looking at my rods, They might be looking at Jacob Wheeler's rods, but I don't think anyone's going to run over to Bertrand's boat and look at what rods he used to finish 25th this week.
Yeah, but
remember when I said that Bertrand is extremely humble?
I know, but listen to me, man. All right, what if you were leading or something like that?
Which you have been.
Would you leave the rods out, or would you put them in the rod line?
I don't know. I would probably just leave them out, to be honest, man. I mean, I don't know. There's so much out there as far, even with the no information rule. These guys are so keen. They see on the water. There's just so much out there that I just don't think. I'm not worried that someone seeing a topwater bait on my deck's gonna have them. I'm gonna lose because of that. I don't know. I mean, I get all the secrecy and stuff, and things have changed a lot. Like if you even go back 10 years, 15 years when I first started fishing, 20 years when I first started fishing, there were a whole lot more secrets. And boy, I don't know. There's not many secrets anymore.
Jim in Indiana says, yeah, they can look at people's boats and determine what not to throw.
Well, you also...
I'll tell you guys one thing about if you use white rods on the water, you could see those rods like a Veritas or whatever. You could see what a guy's doing from a long ways away because you can see that white rod either, snapping a jerk bait or pulling a worm along. It's all the guys that are Abu guys using a Veritas or the Ducket guys. You can see what those guys are doing from a mile away.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about the 2-pound rule?
I love it. I think it's great. I wasn't sure how big of a difference it was going to make right away, but man, it's been really fun. I think it leaves things open enough where a guy can still make a big comeback. With a limit, if you have a bad day the first day against that type of field of anglers, you're toast. Like you have no chance to come back. And now you can. And I talked about this with Matt, I think the other day. But I enjoy it. And I don't know, man, as far as technique wise, if you're fishing for a 2+ pounder, you're fishing for a 5+ pounder. I haven't run into too many situations yet where you're just not fishing for a straight up dink. You're fishing for a quality fish.
Let me ask you this. I haven't asked anybody this. You fished the 3 stages, big fish stages. It was tough to get bit in Florida and Eufaula and Fork for that matter. If it had been a 1-pound limit, do you think it would have been drastically different results? Do you think you would have seen a lot more fish, a lot more people, a lot of different people? I mean, you're one of the 80 guys who have lived through it. If you had to, could a lot of guys gone and caught the 1 to 115s?
At Okeechobee, I think so. Just with all the buck bass that were up to spawn, we had tough fishing conditions, like in general. But Okeechobee, the fishing was there were enough small male buck bass up shallow where you definitely could have got in an area, and maybe a guy that caught that had 4 fish on a day could have literally had 20.
Wow. So that was a big change. I mean, massive change.
Yeah, but Fork, I mean, I caught some undersize at Fork, and I did not catch one in practice or in the tournament undersize at Eufaula. I never even caught one under 2 pounds at Eufaula, dude.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, man. If folks want to check out your podcast, where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, well, hey, appreciate the plug big time, guys. It's Anglers Happy Hour, and it's on all podcast platforms. It's not video. It's just all audio, so iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all those normal places. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook also, Anglers Happy Hour.
All right, there you have it. A couple people on the instant feedback, then we'll wrap things up. Cool. They want to know what your thoughts are about fishing the cups.
Cool. So they are a little bit different. My first cup I fished was last September, and we were in Oklahoma, and we were in a region where I'd been to a couple of the bodies of water, but you're not allowed to even look. You can't do anything to research at all. So I was sitting in the hotel hoping we're going to this place, this lake, or that river. But the funny thing is I had like no pressure, what's weird in like a tournament situation where you go out and you have pre-fish and then you have the tournament based upon your pre-fish. It's really easy to get nervous because there's so much water that you can go check out. There are so many different things that you can do. So you got the pressure leading up to practice. Okay, how am I going to find these things? And then after practice, you almost always have one spot or area where you want to get to, and you're sitting there with butterflies thinking, well, is someone else going to be on this spot, or is are they going to bite? Are they going to do this? and you've got those nerves. And in the cup format, you don't have those nerves because you just don't have any idea. Like you don't even know what you're going to be looking at. So it's really easy to just chill. I mean, I remember we were at the last one. Lucas and Cody Meyer were there, and we were having like fantasy football parties every night. We were just literally talking fantasy football and trying to trade each other players and stuff like that. It was cool. You rig up your rods and then you just go chill. You don't have to, you feel, for me anyways, if I'm at a normal tournament, I feel like I'm doing myself an injustice if I'm not sitting there at night looking at Google Earth or looking at the map, trying to research and up my odds to do better the next day. But when you're not allowed to, it's like, well, let's just go have some fun and try to catch fish. So I liked it for that. I wouldn't want to do that all the time. Like I like the hunt of having practice and stuff like that, but it was a really fun change, and it's very stressful when you get on the water, of course, but leading up to it, there's nothing to be stressed about.
All right, cool stuff, man. Everybody, check it out. It's very, very entertaining. Some great stories with Josh Bertrand and his friends. So, man, good talk to you. Haven't talked to you for a while, Josh, but it sounds like that things are going okay during the break, and I know you are very anxious to get back out on the water.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on. Great to chat with you guys. It's always fun, and I'm excited. I bet you guys are too. We'll have a lot more to talk about once some lines are cast out again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
See you, Josh.
All right, there you have it. Josh Bertrand. And I think on the instant feedback, Andy says Josh is a class act.
Yeah, he's got stuff together.
Yeah.
That's what I said. He would never put a decoy rod out on the deck because while he's super competitive and wants to win and has that streak, he would feel bad if he led someone astray.
Yeah. All right, people want to see it, Matthew. I'm going to cue up the tight cam to where people can actually see the chubbiness. Hang on. Let me get it queued up there. Do you have the old one to where you can compare? Oh, you don't?
Mm-mm.
Well, here, I think there's one on that table right there. Here, let me go get it. Here, I'll grab it real quick.
All right, we just got a tight cam of the Jeff Crete picture in the background. I don't think there might have been a chubby one in there. I don't think there is.
This one's got a hook and a weight.
Yeah, that's not the right hook for you. So take the hook out of there.
Take that out.
Yeah. I think we can show this, can't we?
Yeah. Why not? So there you have the chubbiness.
Whoa, this is like reversed. This is weird. You go right to go left.
Yeah. Well, that's a good shot there. So tomorrow, final day.
Yeah, you can see one's chubby. One, it definitely has a little bit more bulk to it. Add a little bit more detail, everything. So go over to bigbitebase.com / or / one of the two.
Oh, here. People are wanting to know, would it be possible when this thing comes out to get both versions? A skinny version and a chubby version?
Just depends. It depends on how it goes. Yeah. You know how baits are? Baits that sell get other baits. Baits that don't sell don't get other baits that are similar. So I'm sure that
Did the tail get thicker, or was it just the body?
Yeah, the actual connection point there with the tail, the paddle tail on there is actually thicker, and then it tapers down to where it's still thin. To where one of the things I like about it, when you hop it, it kind of curls back, and when you get thicker on the plastic, you're gonna have less motion, obviously.
Yeah.
So with the ribs and the tapering tail, it actually still has that. And then like this one, you split in half, and this one is kept like the paddle tail on the end. So
when's that video coming out?
It's out now on what video?
The one that you and Brad were working on
just now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a minute. That was just a minute video that's out on our social media.
It's out now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brad Hallman's in my Instagram and
is
Brad's
it on YouTube?
Facebook.
No,
it's just to remind everyone that tomorrow's the last day.
Oh, you can throw it out on YouTube too if you got it.
What's a 58-second video? It's
so
designed for Instagram and Facebook, Mark.
You know, there is other things besides Facebook and Instagram.
I hear you.
All right, what else, man? That was good stuff, and he kind of laid down the truth. It's kind of easy to get all the stuff, but the trials and tribulations.
It's hard to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can go out and buy a laptop and a mic and a couple of cables and a small mixing board and try to make it happen, but there's so much more to it than just doing that. All right, tomorrow we're going to have Tim Horton on, rescheduled Tim, and kind of excited. I think he's going to be on the water, Matt.
Okay.
I think he's going to be on the water. I think that's kind of the plan right now. The dude has been pumping out a ton of content. Have you seen some of the content that he's been doing?
Yeah, he's always posting videos of him catching biggins.
So, Tim Horton tomorrow, and then I'm working on the show for next week already.
Okay.
And I got a contact for somebody who was legendary to me when...
Oh, you're still on this train?
I'm still on it, man. I got an email.
I got an idea for a show, too.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
No clue.
Who is it?
Well, his YouTube channel is Marling Baits. I stumbled upon... He's got over 250,000 subscribers. Marling, M-A-R-L-I-N-G, Baits.
Yeah.
And the guy... I just love the way he shoots. Super approachable. He builds all of his own baits, and then he goes out and tests them. But he builds crazy stuff. But he's really good at it. I'll show you some of his videos after. I'd possibly because a lot of people with downtime, a lot of people building baits. I don't even know if this guy does interviews. Maybe everyone else has already interviewed him. I don't know anything about him. But he goes through the entire process. So a lot of it'll be time lapse. So he'll start with the chunk of wood, and then he'll turn it into a variety of different baits. People send him different types of wood, and he makes baits out of those types of woods. I don't even know his name. It's Marling Baits, M-A-R-L-I-N-G Baits. He's got, like I said, he's got 336,000 subscribers because he taps into woodworking, craft, hobby stuff, and all the fishing stuff. But and it's not I'm just gonna carve this out and see if I can catch. It's really well done, high quality stuff.
All right, cool. Work on that. Yeah, that sounds interesting. All right, everybody. Tim Horton tomorrow right here on BTL. Everybody be safe. That's it. We're out of here.